The Merchant of Venice, a Shakespeare story. The older man, Antonio, was a successful merchant. His companion was his friend Bassanio. Last year I visited the town of Belmont. I had dinner there with a man who had a beautiful daughter named Portia, he said. What chance would I stand against rich suitors? I can't even afford a new suit of clothes. If I had the money, I would lend it to you. But at the moment, I haven't got 300 ducats, let alone 3,000. All my money is invested in 4 ships that are voyaging around the world. Shylock had a sharp mind, but often pretended to be slow-witted to mislead his clients. And your friend, the merchant Antonio, will sign a bond guaranteeing that he will pay back the money within 3 months? Didn't I hear you boast that you would never charge interest on a loan or pay interest on any money that you borrowed? Shylock spoke quietly, but sparks of rage glowed in his eyes. Antonio, you have often criticized the way I do business. The other day you spat on my clothes, called me Jewish dog, and kicked me. Today you're asking for my help. Remember that Jews are just as human as you. If you cut us, we bleed. If you poison us, we die, and if you insult us, we will have our revenge. Speaking of the penalty, I think it would be amusing if the lawyer who draws up the bond writes that if you do not pay me by such and such a date, you will let me cut off a pound of your flesh from the place nearest your heart. Sailors make mistakes and ships sink, Antonio, Shylock thought. Once that bond is signed, you will be at my mercy. Evil often disguises itself, he said. In court, a guilty man hides his crime behind a clever argument. Cowardly soldiers mask their fear by pretending to be brave. But this lead casket doesn't seem to be hiding anything. You have not chosen with your eyes, but with your heart, and you are wise. Antonio's ships have been lost at sea. Shylock has had him thrown into prison and says that Antonio must keep his bond. He insists on his pound of flesh, and Antonio goes on trial for debt in a few days, Bassanio said. Why must I be merciful? Because mercy brings a blessing both to those who receive it and those who give it, Portia told him. I don't want to be blessed, grunted Shylock. I want justice to be done. According to the bond, you can cut off a pound of Antonio's flesh from the place closest to his heart, but there is no mention of blood, Portia said. Shed 1 drop of his blood and the state of Venice will confiscate everything you own. Shylock knew that he had been outwitted. According to the laws of Venice, if someone plots to take another's life, half his property will be confiscated by the state, and the other half will be given to his intended victim. Antonio looked at Shylock and saw not a loathed enemy, but a broken old man. I wish to end the hatred between us. Let Shylock keep my half of his property, as long as he agrees to become a Christian.